Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to celebrate a tiny, tiny victory for common sense and freedom. But as usual, it does come with a big but. Yes, we have essentially forced Rishi Sunak and his government to go with a bit of a common sense, make some U-turns on the green agenda, and he's only doing it because there's an election coming up next year. So it doesn't matter why he's doing it, at least he's doing it, right? Obviously, this is about the new oil and gas licenses and contracts. Rishi Sunak and his government, so we had initially Grant Shapps making the announcement saying, today we are saying no to Just Stop Oil and their political wing, the Labour Party. We will power ahead with new oil and gas because it's in the best interests of the British people, of our economy, and of our national security. So they're saying hundreds of new licenses have been announced, and this will also be supporting 213,000 jobs for the economy. That's good. Great news. Now we know why you're doing it, but at least you're doing it. There's still a bit of an argument to have about the so-called windfall tax, because it seemed nice. People like to go after the rich and the powerful, but in reality, it doesn't really actually affect the people at the top. The problem with this is that it actually affects the economy. So Rishi Sunak is still doing that, but I think there's going to be a U-turn on that as well. Firstly, let's go to the Prime Minister. He tweeted saying, first, I'm committing to future oil and gas licensing rounds in the North Sea, going against Keir Starmer's policy of banning it. This will boost domestic gas production, which means British homes and businesses will have access to cleaner and cheaper energy. And it means that we won't be as reliant on foreign imports. I don't understand why we're still having a political system where everybody, and the political leaders that we have, are 100% reactionary. They have to wait for something to happen to react to it. These sort of ideas should have been more proactive. You should have some sort of vision to do it in the first place. Why do you have to wait for a backlash to happen to say, oh, let's go with slightly more conservative policies now? Why didn't your government and your party, the Tories, do it 5 years ago, 2 years ago, any time before this upcoming general election? So they think we're stupid, but of course, a lot of people are still going to fall for it and are going to vote for the Tory party, although this could be a vote winner massively, considering this is one of the areas that you can now see a difference between the Tories and the Labour Party. Usually you can't see a difference these days between red and blue, but this could be the whole net zero stuff, ULEZ and all this stuff. This could actually be a game changer when it comes to the next election. Rishi Sunak also said, second, I will back a whole new British industry of green tech to capture and store carbon, starting with new sites in the Humber and Aberdeenshire. These two sites alone are expected to support up to 25,000 jobs and generate over £10 billion of new investment in the economy. Oh yeah, they're announcing all the happy things now, just when the campaigns are about to start. So it's good, right? We know that this will actually have a positive impact if they still end up doing it, because right now it's just words. Some of these stuff are happening, but not everything that they are saying in terms of the actual jobs being created. There was also a bit of an issue with this is not really a big problem, but people in Downing Street, and there's a bunch of kids right now running Downing Street, and all these advisors and everybody else, and they get together to have meetings about how to phrase words and tweets, for example, right, and press releases. Who approved this in Downing Street to send out this tweet from Rishi Sunak's Twitter account? Because basically the idea was to show a difference between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party in this tweet. So at the bottom you can just say the Conservatives back new oil and gas licenses, power more of Britain from Britain, whatever, and protect British jobs, and it's got green tick next to it, right? But then on the top, when they're trying to show you what the Labour Party are doing, is banning new oil and gas licenses and relying on 100% imports and all this, they put a red cross next to it. That's like double negative sort of thing. It's basically saying the Labour Party is not doing those things, so they're not banning the... I know it's not really a big issue, but it's just the tiny stuff, the idiocy of these people. Like, you could have put any sort of emoji icon. It didn't have to be the red cross. It just makes it sound like the Labour Party is not doing those things. Anyway, but so we're still run by idiots. That's why I just wanted to show you the perfect example of the amateur politics that we have in our country. But it's still good news that we're going to have some new oil and gas licenses, and we are apparently making some U-turns on the overall net zero agenda. I wonder what will happen if the Tories actually win the election, and will they continue with not doing net zero, or are they going to go back to their original targets? Let me know your thoughts and your predictions on Mahyar, Tousi, and We Are The Media.